Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be introducing a new series. Essentially what I'll be doing is growing a new investment portfolio. However, there are a couple rules. One, each week I'll be depositing at least $40. Also, I'll be presenting probably 1 to 3 stocks that I'm interested in investing in. So I'll either invest in them or I'll add it to my watch list. And 3, I'll just do a basic fundamental analysis, also a little bit of technical analysis to answer questions like if the company is profitable or what is their growth been like and whether the company is undervalued, possibly overvalued. At the very beginning, I want to focus my selections on kind of value stocks. So stocks that seem undervalued or fairly priced. All right, so without further ado, the company that I'll be looking at today is called BioDelivery Sciences International, ticker symbol BDSI. All right, so BDSI is a pharmaceutical company, and they mainly create and develop drugs meant to treat serious and debilitating chronic conditions. On their website, they showcase 2 main flagship drugs. One is Belbuca. This is meant to treat severe chronic pain. It's essentially an opioid treatment. And they also have another opioid they use for chronic non-cancer pain. If you're curious about this company and want to do your own personal research, I advise just go to their website. They seem pretty transparent in terms of their research interests, in terms of their financial situations, and overall their treatment and therapy initiatives. All right, so now I just want to go over a few basic financial indicators to determine and justify whether they're a good buy or not. All right, so one of the first indicators I like to look at, it's very easy to understand. It's the PE ratio. This is price to earnings ratio. So how much does the stock cost relative to the earnings of the company? So generally, if you have a high ratio, then it could suggest that the stock is overpriced. To get a full appraisal of a PE ratio, you may want to compare one company's PE ratio to another company's PE ratio within that industry. But a general rule of thumb is that a PE ratio that is higher than 18 tends to be considered high and possibly overpriced, and one that is lower than 15 is considered low. In the case of BDSI, the PE ratio is 14.06. However, to get a better understanding, you'd want to compare that to other companies within the biotech industry. As you can see, the PE ratio for BDSI is a lot less than the industry average, and this is especially important for companies that are profitable, because you're paying less per share for a portion of the earnings. All right, so one thing to appraise the longevity as well as the growth of the company is looking at its profitability. If the company is showing trends of profitability, perhaps they're not profitable now, however they will be in the near future, this should be a good indicator that the company is doing a good job managing money. The EPS ratio, or earnings per share, is an indicator of profitability. If you have a negative ratio, that means they're not profitable and instead are actually losing money. And again, positive means that they're profitable. Okay, so this is a forecast for the EPS of BDSI. Overall, there's an upwards trend. And right here, you can see that they just recently became profitable. All right, so another thing I like to do in terms of determining the company's overall value is comparing its earnings over the next few years to other companies within that industry. So if you look at here, analysts forecasts that this company is expected to have an earnings growth of 31.3% annually. If you compare it to the industry average over the next 3 years, you can see that it's greater. Okay, so another indicator I like to use to assess profitability is called return on equity. This is essentially the profitability of a company in relation to the stockholder equity. The only way to properly gauge whether the ROE is good enough is by comparing it to other companies within that industry. So this site actually does it for you. Again, the ROE is 23.8%. And the industry average is 19.2%. So in general, this company is profitable, especially in regards to the returns shareholders get on their investment. So not everything is glowing remarks. One thing that they do have to work on is their debt to equity ratio. Obviously, if the debt the company takes on tends to be greater than the income they bring in, that's not going to be a profitable situation. So if you look from 2016 to 2019, it seems like that was the general case where the company took on a lot of debt compared to the equity they were bringing in. However, a good sign is that you're starting to see a reverse where they're starting to bring in more equity and starting to reduce the debt that they have. Okay, so just to summarize, we went over the PE ratio, which is 14.14. This is on the lower end. To me, it suggests that the stock is currently fairly priced or even undervalued. We also looked at profit. One of the indicators was the EPS. So far, it's trending in the right direction, and the company just recently became profitable. We also looked at the ROE, the return on equity, and it's around 23.8, which is significantly greater than the industry average of 19, I believe. To me, this suggests that the company is really good at leveraging investments to facilitate growth and increase profits. We also saw that the company has relatively high debt to equity ratio. However, current signs suggest that the company is doing a good job at reducing debt and increasing income. Also, it's important to note that the company is releasing their quarterly revenue. According to analysts, they're expected to outperform expectations. They've done this, I believe, on their last report as well. Typically, when there's a high degree of surprise and the company outperforms expectations, there tends to be an immediate jump in the stock price. All right, so with all that said, I decided to invest basically the entire $50 into BDSI. I know right here it says $40.67. That's only because I converted the currency to USD. All right, so this ends week 1 of building a portfolio. Thanks for watching. If you did like this video and you do want to follow up, please like and subscribe. Thanks again so much. Till next week.